Hey y'all, this summer at camp somebody told me that they thought that I would be good at vlogging instead of or in addition to blogging. So I thought I'd give it a try this week. And the reason this week in particular I chose to do it is when I started to sit down and write my blog, I legitimately couldn't even function. Words were not coming out. And I'll tell you why here in a second. But so yeah, I just wanted to give it a try. So for the past really year, I've been struggling with money and just being an adult. Last summer I decided not to go back to school, which of course comes with being an adult, and paying bills and all of that fun stuff. So I think I've done pretty well and okay at it. I always pay my bills on time. I always have food. So that's, I don't know, I think that's working. That's good. But then this summer I went back to Youth Front camp. That's great and I love it, but with that came a huge decrease of salary. I don't know if you know anything about ministry, you know that it doesn't come with a lot of money. It's super rewarding and super great and worth it, but there's just not a lot of money there. So I was still paying bills and doing all that, just on all substantially less paycheck. So I did all that, but it was really draining my savings, to the point where at the end of the summer I only had $17 in my savings, which is not good. But also in the middle of the summer, it became apparent to me that I needed to actively start looking at a new car, or new to me car. My car was given to me 2 years ago, and that's a completely different, super awesome God story. But it's starting to fall apart and just isn't really worth the repair that it needs and the time and the money that it needs. So I started looking at new cars, and I was just okay, maybe in December, before it gets really cold, since they don't have heat, I can save up enough money, now that I have a steady paycheck again, not at camp. I can save up money for a down payment, a really good $4,000, $5,000 down payment, and I can get a new car. So started looking at cars, researching cars, saving money, all that. But then this past week I was just super stressed. I was okay, so I don't even know if this is going to be possible to do. If it is possible, it's going to drain all my savings again. I'm not going to have any savings for if something medical happens, which if you know me, you know that I have some health problems and that's a legitimate concern, or what if an emergency happens of some sort. So I was really stressed and I was really panicked, but at the same time there was this peace. And I was okay, God's got it. He's always provided for you. He is not going to let you down. He's right there. Which is, I don't know, kind of funny to me because I haven't been doing the best at doing my devotions, or spending my quiet time with God. But I was okay, He's still there. And I had that peace, which if you know me, you know that I have anxiety, and you know that peace doesn't come with anxiety. So that's also just huge. I was stressed, but I wasn't panicking, because I had that peace of the Lord. So that was really cool. But then on Sunday, I was just hanging out with my roommates. We were hanging out on the porch, and I realized that we hadn't gotten the mail. So I just opened the mailbox, and I was okay, you have a bill, and you have a card, and blah, blah, blah. And then I was oh, I have something from my grandparents. That's cool. So the weekend before, I had talked to my grandparents, and they had just asked, like, hey, how's your car? And I was like, well, it's not, like, great, but I'm, like, working on it. I'm saving money to get a new one. And they were just like, okay, cool. Like, they didn't say a lot. And I thought that was the end of that. But so I opened the card from my grandparents, and out fell a check for a lot of money, and enough that I can, like, put a down payment on my car, like, soon. Like, I'm looking at cars, like, next week, soon. So that was just really, really cool. And I just wanted to encourage you guys, like, that the Lord is moving and the Lord is working. And no, it's not always going to come monetarily, or it's not always going to be huge, but He's working. He's providing our very breath right now. He's providing our food. He's providing our job. He's providing water and just everything. And it's not always going to be huge, but, like, remember that He's there, and remember that He's with you. Remember that He's working, even when you don't see it or when you don't feel it, which, like, for me, I haven't been, like, super close to God recently. Like, I just haven't felt Him, which, like, Christianity is not a feeling, and that's not what I'm saying, but you go through spurts where you're like, yeah, like, I know God is here. I can feel Him. And you go through spurts without it, and I think that is the Lord being like, hey, are you going to, like, have faith that I am still here even when you don't feel it? Your Christianity is all about faith, having faith when you don't see. So I think that's a huge part of being a Christian and growing in your faith, is remembering and realizing that He's there even when you don't feel it. So it was just a really cool God moment, so much so that I started sobbing on the porch with my roommates. I was just like, guys, like, this is so cool. This is such a God thing. And it just reminded me that He provides for us. And it seems kind of silly for me to be like, yeah, like, the Lord gave me money through my grandparents, which was super unexpected, when there are people who have lost everything this week in Hurricane Harvey, who are dying, who have lost their family members. But the Lord is providing for all of us, and it's just in different ways. So I hope that that's encouraging to you, that He's providing. And, like, you know, sometimes when I hear a story like that person got something really big, I'm like, okay, yeah, like, that still does happen, and the Lord is good, and the Lord is working, and all that. But also, sometimes it makes me jealous and mad, and I'm like, dang it, God, like, why did that person get a huge thing, and, like, I'm struggling over here? So if that's the case, after hearing my story, like, I'm sorry, that was, like, not the intent, but, like, I don't know, just remember that the Lord is providing in different ways for every person. So don't be jealous. Just be honest with God. Have quiet time with Him and be like, hey, I'm mad. Like, I don't think this is fair. Like, change my heart, Lord. Be honest with Him. I mean, He already knows, but, like, have a conversation with Him. Be honest with Him. He's our dad. He cares for us, and He loves us, and He wants to have that relationship with you guys, and with us and with me. So do that, and just remember that He's there. Remember He's providing even when it doesn't feel like that. And yeah, that's kind of all I had. I hope that it wasn't super miserable to listen to me. I know I say a lot, but this is, like, the first time I've done a video, so we'll see if it's a regular thing or if I go back to blogging because you guys hated it or whatever. So yeah, like, share if you liked the video, and have a great week. I love y'all. See you next week.